What is the crime?
Today was breathtaking. In this room, you saw what went on. It was breathtaking and amazing testimony. This is a trial that should have never happened. This is a case that should have never been filed.
Joining me now is Todd Pyrow, co-anchor of Fox and Friends First. Todd, I know you were inside the courtroom today. You're witnessing it. What's the biggest takeaway?
I can't answer your question, Laura, on what the crime is. I mean, we've read legal scholars say they can't figure out the crime, but to actually be in the courtroom and watch hour upon hour of testimony, I still don't have an answer. To me, we've had now almost 9 years of Trump bad, and in court today, I had about 8 more hours of Trump bad. I still don't know what the crime is.
Yeah, as we said, Todd, where's the crime? Thanks so much. Okay. All right, another embarrassing day in court for Alvin Bragg as the Manhattan DA, again, struggles to prove that a state business fraud statute actually somehow can involve a federal campaign law violation. And when this doesn't get traction, this theory, the media reverts to blabbing about anything but the state law at issue.
A really damning scheme in which the National Enquirer was in cahoots with Trump.
What other conversations did David Pecker have with Donald Trump that bear on his knowledge and intent? That's catch and kill. Except not by a publisher, by Donald Trump himself.
We are looking at someone who clearly doesn't follow the results of the election and would be an autocrat if he could get away with it.
See, I mean, this today really kind of took the cake for me.
They never give up, Laura, and they never will give up, no matter how many times they're slapped down. There was nothing in today's testimony that changed the underlying legal problems that I think Bragg is going to have, or that changes the key facts in the case. And the key problem is it's not illegal, as you pointed out. It's not illegal to pay somebody money to catch and kill a story. It's not illegal to reimburse a publisher who pays that money. To convict Trump under the latest esoteric theory, you have to show that he conspired to promote his own election by unlawful means. But as we have pointed out, it is not, apparently the theory is the unlawful means was that they didn't report this, or they were trying to stop from reporting this as a federal campaign expenditure. But as we know, that actually is not the federal campaign expenditure law. So I don't see any movement by them at all here. It's a very troubling case. Even if they get a conviction, I think it stands a chance of being reversed on appeal.
Yeah, David, I have to say, I'm more stunned than ever that this case got to this point. And I think we're seeing a lot of the media types, some lawyers, some not, try to whip up their audience, despite what's happening in the courtroom, with these vague narratives and offer, I think, false hopes. Watch this.
David Pecker, boy, he really has laid this out, how this works, this catch and kill form of journalism. How damning has this been to Donald Trump?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say an 8. Pretty damning.
That's it, David. An 8. Pretty damning on what? On what issue?
Well, Laura, you hit the nail on the head. The media doesn't focus on what, if any, crime there is here. There's salacious details, some of them, and they're very interesting to some people. But you asked, how could the case get this far? The answer to that is Judge Merchan. No normal judge would allow this case to go forward, just as the DA's office didn't think it should go forward when Mark Pomerantz presented it. The question is, do we really believe that for a candidate to want to either pay extortion money or hide some fact that may be unpleasant from the public, that's really election interference? But the problem is we don't even know what they claim the charge is. We don't necessarily even get to the misdemeanor, because that requires an intent to defraud with the way the thing was booked. You can be sure President Trump didn't direct how this was to be booked. But if you got to that, they then have to prove that he did that with the intent to commit some other crime. Without the grand jury ever charging what that other crime is, it's impossible to defend. Let's say through this witness, it's to cover up some salacious fact to help himself in the election. But another witness says, well, it's really a campaign finance violation. And another one says, no, it's really a tax violation. A defendant doesn't have to hit a moving target all of the time. I think today's testimony perfectly highlights what many of the problems are with this case. And by the way, would it be to advance a campaign if someone plagiarized and then covered that up? Or if somebody ruined a server that might have had embarrassing details on it and emails on it to promote a candidacy, would those be illegal? Were they ever charged against any other candidate?
No, well, they keep mentioning a conspiracy and a scheme that's never charged, Saul, as we talked about before. Keep invoking the conspiracy. He wasn't charged with conspiracy. And then today, you get the sense from David Axelrod, Saul, obviously a big Democrat guru involved in so many campaigns, that this is becoming perhaps a political problem for the president. Watch this. We'll have it in just a second. He's talking basically about whether or not a hung jury will help Biden or not. And in fact, I think we have it now.
There is some mystery as to what happens at the end of this process. If he is a convicted felon, that's going to have material impact on him moving forward. If he should have a hung jury, which could happen, it could have the reverse effect, and it could be the beginning of his way out of this legal morass that he's in, because he will use it to taint all the other cases.
Now, Saul, Trump is now being charged in the press with tainting other cases if he succeeds in this jury pool, but with one juror saying no, he's not guilty of any of this. Really?
Well, that's a new crime, too, tanking other cases just because you're acquitted or you get a hung jury. I think Axelrod makes a really good point. There are many examples of this. I don't know if you remember, the Texas U.S. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison got indicted when she was up for re-election by Ronnie Earl, notorious district attorney in Travis County. And she destroyed him. The case didn't even get to trial. And she just kicked the hell out of her opponents after that. So it can have, it can certainly have that effect. Even a hung jury can, and particularly when you combine that with what it looks like the Supreme Court is going to do. They're not going to give Trump total immunity, but the case is going to be sent back because the Court of Appeals. Yeah. So I just think that there are going to be consequences here.
Yeah, David, do you think they regret this case going forward first? I'm not counting the Jean Carroll case, but this case really being their first big bite at the criminal apple here?
I think on some level they do, and they should, but I think they also are glad about the case because it keeps President Trump off the campaign trail. I think this judge's order requiring him to be in the courtroom every day is absolutely absurd. There is a statute in New York, 260.20, that has the defendant at trial during a criminal trial, but every case construing it says it's the defendant's right. It arises from the defendant's state and federal constitutional right of confrontation. I'll tell you the other thing I want to just comment very quickly about is I think that the Sandoval motion that arose earlier in this case, a couple days ago, that is a motion by the prosecution to introduce evidence of prior bad acts alleged against President Trump, is going to be very important. And the Weinstein decision today, throwing out that conviction, is very important because you can see now they've got no case. And so they're going to try to piggyback and try to prove he's guilty here by bringing in other alleged prior bad acts. That's exactly what the decision is intended to prevent.
David, I'd like to say great minds think alike, but I don't consider my legal mind as smart as you were, Saul. So exactly what I was thinking about in the Weinstein case. Great to see both of you. Thanks so much.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
It's not about justice. It's not about agenda. It's not about mobilizing people. It's about dialing for corporate dollars. These two parties have sold the U.S. government and the American people to the highest bidders.